One of the things that we learned from Thomas Sankara's life is that he fought against coloniality, which is the colonial mindset, because you could say you've got independence, but your mind is not liberated, so you remain colonized in the mind, and that really makes it difficult for any kind of change to be brought about. So that's one of the things we're going to learn from our conversations with Thomas Sankara today. Our very first conversation was with Ken Sarawiwa, and we had that in Port Harcourt, and it was very interesting because what he stood for, what he fought for, are still very relevant to our struggles today. So today we are very privileged to have as our guest discussant Isaac Asume Osuoka, whose other name while he was a student and also as an activist. Even now we still call also Sankara. Now you've covered a lot of grounds and you've given us a lot to chew on. One of the things you said, which really stands out, I mean, everything you said were points to be chewed over, to be digested. You said that Thomas Sankara was, in your opinion, the most important formal and formal political leader who has emerged, most important political leader who has emerged in the formal post-colonial, post-independence period. And I thought that was very important to note because he was the leader of Burkina Faso, the land of the upright, for just a brief period of time. And he was assassinated by friends. Amilcar Cabral was assassinated by friends before Guinea-Bissau got independence. And so that's really a point to note. But I want to just take your attention to the fact that Thomas Sankara, as you said, obviously was an internationalist. He was a Pan-Africanist. And one of the last time he was at the African Union meeting, he said that if African countries continue to pay the external debt, he would not attend any further meeting of the Union. And of course, before the next meeting, he was assassinated. So he didn't have to prove whether he would attend that or not. But concerning the fact that he was an internationalist, I do note that he was a staunch supporter of the Sahrawi people of the Polisario Front in Western Sahara. And that is the last colony in Africa. It's still a colony of Morocco in Africa. He believed in Pan-African solidarity. Now, could you just tell us, tie this, or how can we as environmental, ecological activists bring about international solidarity to confront the environmental challenges that are current to us, including climate change?
Thank you. From the example of Thomas Sankara, we see the appreciation of the extensive hand of colonialism, the forces of colonialism, the forces of imperialism, and how, whether we're talking about Africa, we have similar histories, whether we're talking about Africa, Latin America, and even Asia. We have a history of plunder. We have a history, that is written or that is determined by the actions of commercial interests of Europe that went out to colonize different places. In the case of Africa, we have all the countries, most of the countries that we have in Africa are countries that exist today because certain European powers sat down in a table in Berlin, put the map of Africa down and divided the continent, just drew lines on the map. And that is how so-called nation states were formed. And these countries have been established to facilitate the plunder of the resources of the continent. And these forces were acting not just in a particular country. They acted in several countries at the same time where they have colonies, and they are acting in unison. They have colonialist solidarity. They knew what they wanted to do. And it is important to understand that if you are in Nigeria and you are dealing with transnational corporations that have been involved in the devastation of the environment, that the same people, the same forces are active in Latin America, in Ecuador, in Colombia, doing the same thing. In Venezuela, they're trying to do the same thing. They're trying as much as possible to plunder, to get the maximum benefit without consideration for the harm on the environment. So it is important in confronting these forces, the forces of global capitalism, the forces of plunder, that those that are working at the grassroots, that activists also work together. That we should stretch our hands across our borders, even within countries. It is very, very important, because we have a situation where, using Nigeria as an example, there's some even gulf that could exist between people that are in the south of the country and people that are in the Sahel region in the north, who may be confronted by slightly different ecological challenges on the image. It is important to understand what other people are facing and seek to work in solidarity, because the causes of this crisis is one. It is the capitalist system that drives the kind of destructive development that creates problems at the local level. So international solidarity is fundamental. In dealing with environmental crisis, in dealing with political crisis. I'm talking about the response to ecological crisis, and the kind of example, what we learn from Thomas Sankara, because Thomas Sankara dealt with desertification. The Sahel region in Africa is one of the clearest examples of the impact of climate change globally. Because of desertification, because of the trees have been cut down, and the result is that there's an increasing conflict now between pastoralists and farming communities. That has resulted in lots of killings in Nigeria, in Mali, even in Burkina Faso right now. And what needed to be done was to take concrete action locally, but also internationally, to plant trees, to call for solidarity. Let the different countries in the region work together to address the challenges in the Sahel. If it is to plant trees, that should be done. But that should be done with the participation of the people themselves. The participation of the people themselves, that is important. So Thomas Sankara showed us by mobilizing the Burkinabe people to plant 10 million trees in a very short period of time, even without international aid, even without international intervention, but understanding that ecological restoration was one of the things that needs to be done to accompany, to complete the decolonization process. It was organized as a political project. So for activists, environmental activists all over the world, we need to understand that environmental activism, ecological restoration, is purely a political project that we have to organize, and politically also.